had examples like that in our running lives of when we went out on a limb and tried either to run a pace that we weren't sure we could handle, or tried to bridge a gap in a race that we didn't know how it would end up. Went and talked to somebody who knew more than we did, but we wanted to learn, so we took the courage to step out and make ourselves better. Those are the types of things I think about regarding courage and running. So getting away from thinking about the sandlot and examples from that, I'd love for you to think about experiences in your own running lives so far that where you know in your heart that you've really felt lit up by your own passion for running, and it was just so awesome. It still really sticks out. If you just think about your memories of running, when did you have your most favorite run? If you need to write that down on the page you put passion on, do that. Just remind yourself. Just maybe when you're going to sleep one night this week, tonight, just close or when you wake up, or you have a quiet moment by yourself, or you're talking to each other. When do you remember having the absolute best time you've ever had running? When it was just a blast. That's the passion. And anytime you lose sight of that, if you think about that memory, you can always tap back into your passion, even in moments in your life when you think you've lost it. And that's the power of our imagination. That's the power of our mind. So how many of you have heard of Billy Mills? Anybody heard of Billy Mills? Yeah, he was is the only American to have ever won a gold medal in the 10,000 meters in the Olympic Games. He was a Lakota Sioux man, half Lakota Sioux and half Caucasian. He grew up on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, and he wrote a wonderful book called Wokini, which I have here at camp, if any of you want to look at it. It's about growing as a person. I'll just leave it at that. But in that book, he teaches you how to use your imagination, your memories, to keep yourself happy and strong. And it's called using your stored consciousness. So again, just think about, and in the book he invites you to think every single day about a memory that made you happy. Because, a lot of times we might think oh, poor me, we're having a bad day, but if you actually decide consciously 3 times a day to think about a memory that made you happy, we have a lot of those. A birthday party, a time you went on a trip with your family, you name it. Tons of experiences where we've been really happy in our lives. So think about your most enjoyable race. Do any of the staff, can you think of one that pops into your mind? Or a run or a race?
Yeah. I mean, I remember a time when I was just going through some things personally and trying to decide whether I wanted to get into coaching or whether I wanted to, all these sort of different career paths. And I remember going on a run. There was nothing sort of special about it. It was a trail. I mean, at the time, it was a trail I'd run probably 400 different times, but it started to rain in the middle of it. And like halfway through the run, I had sort of an epiphany. And that epiphany was sort of this, all of a sudden, all these sort of obstacles and trying to figure out what I wanted to do, all of a sudden it just became very clear to me, and that happened on a run. I think that's a run that I'll always sort of remember.
Mm-hmm. I did a race called the Trans Rockies Run, where you run with a partner for 6 days through the Rocky Mountains. And when I finished that race, it was, you don't run all day every day, but it takes 6 days to complete the race. And the day that I finished that race and found strength in myself that I didn't know I had, that was one of my happiest memories. And I remember celebrating. You know how on TV you've seen Tour de France winners or Wimbledon winners, they give them a big bottle of champagne, they shake it up and it explodes. They gave me and my partner who won the race a bottle of champagne, and we sprayed ourselves, sprayed each other. That was my first time ever doing that, so that was a great memory. And I can think of runs up in the mountains in Colorado, training runs that were just blissful. So you want to live for those. That's the passion thing I was talking about. If you have a lot of those memories stored up, your running career will be long and enjoyable. That's the key. So that's a hint for your passion journal thing this week. And then the courage one. How many of you can think of a time where you felt you summoned up some courage? You don't have to explain the details, just can you think of something? Is anything coming to mind? Mm-hmm.
I signed up for a race near my house in the middle of track season because I felt like I wasn't getting the workout I needed. So I decided to sign up for a 5.25 mile long race through the mountains near my house. And I got there expecting there to be tons of kids my age. And I showed up, and the person closest to age in me was 20 years older. And so I told my mom, no, I'm not doing this. I want to go home. I'm too scared. And she made me get out of her car and look around and pretty much carried me to the starting line. And that's when I looked around me and looked at the trail ahead and kind of decided I can do this. I've been working towards a race like this. I can do this. I don't care if I'm the youngest person. I will run this race, and I'll try my hardest.
And you're alive to tell the story. Nice. Did you actually end up having a good time?
Yeah, it was a really fun race.
Good.
I enjoyed myself.
Good. Yeah. So because you busted through that, you're at a new level of saying yes to things. That's great. Yeah?
Does it have to be about running?
No.
So, I go to a private school, so it's not that many kids, and I have something called Tourette syndrome, and it's actually, so sometimes I make noises or do something physically that I can't control.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the same as everybody else. It's just that sometimes happens to me. And so I decided to share that with my school. So I was a little more open about that, and it was a hard time, but I got through it, and I'm glad that I told people.
Wow. It probably was really freeing, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty hard though too.
Yeah. Good.
So yeah.
I read an article about a girl with Tourette syndrome who runs. Have you read that?
Yes,
The girl in the national, she's a very fast runner.
Was her name Amaris?
I think so.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I heard that too.
Cool.
So it's great because there's a lot of people that they don't know that they have it, and it's really great to actually get out there and explore.
Yeah.
Actually know stuff.
So when you have something like that, it makes running a 5K seem kind of easy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an example of how we grow our roots deeper when we have adversity, and it makes us handle the challenges of life a little better. And running is a great thing for us. It's a gift for us to keep being bigger people inside. And you can give yourself that gift by continuing to set goals. So goals are related to commitment. So that commitment will be maybe one of the easier things to journal about, because I bet all of you have a dream in your heart to do something with your running. Is that true? Something you'd like, even if it's even if you're not really sure what it is, I'm guessing you're here at camp because you're at least fascinated with this sport of running and you would like to get better and learn more. Is that fair? Yeah. So remind yourself on the commitment page that that's about putting down your goal. You could have a short-term goal, a medium, long-term goal, or a long-range goal. Long range would be like, where would I like to be in 10 years? Like, do I want to run in college? Do I want to run after college? So that might be a little bit far. But another, medium goal would be like, ooh, I really want to make varsity at my high school. Or I'd like to, there's lots of things.
And I think also that's really cool that when I was running one time, I had like this tick that was like, oh yeah, the things are called ticks, like, and so my leg like went straight, so I could still run. It was just a little harder, like, so I kept running. I was running, and then I had like a tick, and then so I was doing that for a while, and then I just kept running and I was trying to stay calm and stuff, and I just got over it, and it's gotten a lot better with the years, so I'm not really doing it anymore that much, so it's really nice that. And I went to people and I talked about it. I went to Washington to see this doctor, and he helped me and stuff like that.
Awesome. That's so great. Yeah. There's a quote, I'll find it and we'll share it with you before I leave, by Nelson Mandela, who was the Prime Minister of South Africa. He gave a famous speech that was actually borrowed by somebody else who wrote this, but in the quote, when he was inaugurated, the first black South African Prime Minister after apartheid had ended. And it said, when we liberate ourselves from our fear, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. So you made me think of that, because by you talking about the thing that you've been sort of afraid to talk about and bringing it out in the open, you make other people feel like, hey, if she can do that, I can do that. And that's a real gift you can give to your teammates, is just naming the thing that's kind of bothering you or making you feel afraid, and then you get things out in the open and everything's a lot healthier. So, does anybody need any guidance or ideas on commitment or goal setting? Like short-term, long-term, medium-term goals? Or do you have ideas?
I have a quick challenge.
Okay.
To go with your goals in your journal, include some things that you can absolutely control. So for example, Jackson here and Kennedy are very, very talented runners. And it'd be very easy for them to say, for Kennedy to say, I want to run 4:30 this spring, the 1500. Or for Jackson to say, I want to run 14:30 the 5K. And that's great. That's great. I think writing down, a time that you want to get, an achievable time, I think that's awesome. But what else is awesome are things you can absolutely control. So for example, maybe instead of, or to go with, I want to run 14:30 or 4:30, it's, I want to get 8 hours of sleep every night. I want to take an ice bath after every run. I want to make sure I take the time to stretch. Oh, I hate everything. I absolutely hate taking the time to stretch. I was terrible about it. Jackson's too. I'm not sure Kennedy's much better. So there's things like that you absolutely can control. I can say that I want to go to the Olympics, and that's great. If that's a goal, that's great. But the one thing that I can control tomorrow is maybe it's making sure I go out and buy a new pair of shoes. My shoes are old. It's making sure I get 9 hours of sleep, and staying up, and spending another 4 hours on Facebook or whatever it is you guys do now. So I challenge you to include a couple of goals that you can always control, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and those little things, like, okay, I'm going to eat 3 servings of fruits and vegetables today. I'm going to go to bed by 10 o'clock. Those little things, they're all adding to your wealth and moving you forward towards running excellence, and that's the point. Yeah.
My college coach, who Melody has met several times, he used to say that good days make good weeks make good months make good seasons make good careers. And it's true. You know? Running is difficult in the sense that it's a difficult thing to do, but it's simple though. You put one foot in front of another, you know? And you try to be intelligent about things as well as work hard. It's a balance.
Okay, and the last one is resilience. That's the juicy story. I would love to hear people's tales of resilience if you wish to share them tomorrow. Time when you tried something and it didn't work out. You put effort towards something and maybe by society standards you failed, but for you it was a learning experience. That's always how you frame an experience where you didn't quite reach your desired goal. And so what experience in your life so far, whether it's you wanted to ace a test and you got a C, or you wanted to run 5 kilometer peaks and you just couldn't that day. You know, there's a million possibilities. But when in your life have you gotten back up or continued trying and you knew it, and you could feel the satisfaction of being resilient? It's really important that you are in touch with that part of yourself and you know that that's in you. So remind yourself on the resilience page that that's an experience you can look back into. Even at your young age, we've all had those experiences. I think I remember in 3rd grade wanting to hang out with these 3 popular girls and they rejected me. And it was really hard. In 3rd grade, I was 9 years old. But I got through it. And you know actually what got me through it was I loved to run already. And I ran the Boulder 10K. And I won my age group as a 9-year-old. And I had this supreme sense of accomplishment from that. And it made my little petty playground drama seem kind of insignificant. So that's another reason why it's a great thing to find something you're passionate about, to set goals for it, and do those little things to make yourself better every day. So does anybody have anything they want to share, or any questions or anything? You ready to hit the hay? Okay. All right, well, Drew, do you want to give them the rundown of tomorrow? Or any tomorrow announcements?
7:30, we're going to be knocking on your door. We are going to be eating at the cafeteria at 8 o'clock. We're going to give you plenty of time for that to digest, and then we're going to go for a run. A lot of you guys are going to be going to, we're going to be going off campus. It's this really cool park. It's called Tryon Creek, very wooded area. It should be a lot of fun. Hilly,